Hey, what's up, you guys? This is John Chacon with Austin Performance Fitness, coming at you with another segment of the Coach's Corner. Today, we're going to be discussing a movement that we use quite often, especially with a lot of our beginner, novice, or some of those clients that haven't really been working out for a long time. And we use it exclusively for some really key reasons. A lot of those we're going to be talking about today. That movement is the suspension row. Some of you might know it as a recline row, some of you might know it as a TRX row. We use what's called a jungle gym, which is just like a TRX, but it's like a third of the price, does the same thing, but it's made right here in the USA. We also use rings. You can use just about anything. You could even make something out of toe straps or tie downs and anything that you can hold on to that's sturdy. You can attach these things to you can see I got a pair right here. You can attach them to pull-up bars. You can find a really sturdy branch out in the park. Sometimes some of these systems you can even plant them right between your door and the door molding inside your house. Just make sure it's structured the right way, and you read the instructions when you're setting that thing up, because that can go really wrong really quick. But there's some key reasons that we use this tool in our gym quite a bit, and we use it with a lot of our advanced clients too. One of the first things is, for us, it's a fundamental pattern of movement. Whenever I discuss patterns of movement with people, we talk about those things, or those base movements that we derive all of our other movements from throughout our daily lives. One of the most basic ones is the push. We had to learn how to get up off the ground by pushing, keeping our arms in nice and tight. But we do variations of pushing throughout the day, whether it's vertical, whether it's horizontal, at an angle, in different directions and different intensities. But the opposite of that is a pull, more specifically a horizontal pull. The reason that this is such a key thing, not only is it a fundamental pattern, but it works directly with our posture. If you spend any amount of time at a desk or eating or in front of at the steering wheel of a car, you probably ended up forward with your posture, which does make it more difficult to raise overhead, which is why this is another key thing. It's a progressive step towards getting someone towards a pull-up type motion where they can safely raise their arm over their head without any impingements or any problems with their shoulders. So one, this rowing motion is going to help us with pulling those shoulder blades back, getting those scapula or shoulder blades to retract and pull together. Developing that over time, those muscles in between the shoulder blades are going to get stronger, and they're just going to feel more resilient, and they're going to feel more comfortable in this location, so much more so than they would forward roll. Okay, so we got it's a fundamental pattern. We like to use it as a posture tool to help us reintegrate that posture. Number three, it's going to help us develop grip strength and help us to learn how to develop tension. Whenever we do anything where we're holding onto a bar, whether it's a bench press, a deadlift, a squat, a press overhead, a bent over row, whatever it is, especially with the deadlifts, you have to learn how to create tension and almost like you're trying to bend that bar. And right here with the TRX, the really cool thing about this is that it doesn't have to be in a fixed position. When you're holding a bar, you have to pull it straight back and keep that palm facing down. With the TRX, you can naturally allow your shoulder to externally rotate, starting from that down, partially internally rotated position, and then pulling in, keeping that nice and neutral. So for us, it's easier on the wrists, it helps with the posture, it's a fundamental pattern, and it allows us to develop that torque through external rotation in the shoulders, and it actually feels really good. You'll know right away if you're doing it the wrong way. If you start out with a more neutral grip and you try to rotate inward as you pull back, it's not going to be very easy. We more naturally are able to retract our shoulder blades when we're externally rotating at our shoulder joint. So we got 4 things in there so far, including the grip strength, because that's going to allow us to create that tension. And one of the last main things I want to talk about is it allows us to engage our hips and our glutes. I know you guys can't see mine right now, but in order to maintain that nice straight line of a pattern, and I'll show you guys this in just a second, when you're holding yourself in that pattern where your heels are on the ground, your feet are planted flat, you want to make a nice straight line from your shoulders down to your heels. In order to do that, you have to make sure that you don't have excessive hip extension where your hips are going way out in front of you, and you want to make sure that your hips or your butt isn't sagging back behind you. And one of the key things that teaches a lot of our beginners, again, with this movement is you have to brace at your core. And your core isn't just your abs, guys. It's your hips, everything from basically your quads, your hamstrings, up to your glutes. And your glutes are going to dominate this movement because you're going to have to squeeze them and engage them so you can keep that nice locked hip position. You're also going to have to brace your abs, which is why, again, I love this movement. It helps with learning where your core is at, how to use it, how to activate it, and how to control. So again, quick recap. It's a fundamental movement, okay? Number 2, it's going to help with our posture. And when it helps with our posture, it's also going to allow us over time to be able to start developing that pulling strength so that we can start to pull and press overhead as well. In addition to that, it's also, another one that I forgot to mention, is it's going to help us with our pushing strength. When you have a lot of pulling strength and you are able to engage your upper back, all those really large muscles in your upper back, you're going to be able to do so much more with pushing. So if you're struggling with your bench press or your push-ups, you better believe these recline rows or suspension rows are going to help tremendously with that. After that, we start developing grip strength and the use of external rotation to develop tension through other motions. And it's also a very comfortable motion because it's natural for us. After that, we also learn to engage our core muscles and to brace, utilizing our glutes and our abs. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys just a quick introduction to this. When you set things up, make sure that your anchor points are shoulder width apart. Try not to line those anchor points up, whether it's on a branch or on a pull-up bar. Make sure they're not too wide and make sure they're not really in close. It's just going to make the movement really awkward. When you set yourself up there, you're going to want to make sure you line those anchor points up with your shoulders. Okay, once you establish that overhand grip, you're going to plant your feet shoulder width apart. Again, those should be lined up with your shoulders and with the anchor point. You're catching my flow here. It's all going to be in one direct line. Once you establish that, you're going to allow yourself to recline slowly and naturally, starting with the palms down. You're going to engage those shoulder blades, pull those shoulder blades back. You're going to squeeze your glutes nice and tight so you create that nice straight line. I'll try to give you guys the best image of that as I can. So right now, it's a little bit too wide for me. I'm going to pull it in a little bit. I'm going to grasp these handles. Make sure both these handles are at the same height. It's also get really awkward when it's not. Grasp these handles firmly. I'm going to place my feet shoulder width apart, toes straight ahead, keep the heels down. I'm going to slowly bring myself down, recline, shoulder blades back, keep my head up, squeeze my glutes to lock the hips in place. I'm going to slowly rotate my palms in, keep my elbows in tight to reach my chest. Then I'm going to come back down. Just remember with this one, guys, make sure that you're never allowing your shoulders to round forward, because as soon as those shoulders go, the rest of your hips are going to go. From the basic suspension row, you also have other alternatives. You can do one-arm rows. You can do rotational rows. You can do bent knee rows, which allows you to get more of a horizontal position versus the anchor point. If you need to make the movement more difficult, simply move your feet closer to the anchor point until you're almost beyond the anchor point, and again, in that horizontal position to the anchor point. If you need to make it easier, move back. Just know a few things. As you start to get fatigued, if you start to feel your neck trying to protrude forward to help you up, that's going to start to kind of take the posture thing in the wrong direction. So we want to make sure that you're not making it so difficult on yourself that you're having to strain your neck and pull it forward. Make sure that you can keep your head nice and neutral the whole time. As you're pulling back, you're able to engage those shoulder blades. Take your time with the movement, explore it, engage it. It's a really, really simple tool. I've paid for sets of rings before. I think these ones back here were like 30 bucks, 35 bucks, and the possibilities are endless. The great thing about rings, when you want to move on to something else other than recline rows, you can set those up for pull-ups. The nice thing with those, again, you can do the external rotation as you're pulling up. You can set them up for muscle-ups. For all my muscle-up ninjas out there, you can do ring dips, all kinds of stuff. The TRX is also, or the Jungle Gym, sorry TRX. The Jungle Gym is also a very, very versatile tool. However, again, you're going to be limited. You can't do certain things with it that you can with rings. I think the rings are more versatile, but because the TRX has a straight handle, it's a lot nicer to hold on to. So outside of that, guys, I really do hope that if you don't have rows in your program, whether you're beginner, advanced, intermediate, that you start to implement them a little bit more. They could probably help you with some of those areas. If you're a beginner, it's going to help you all around. It's going to help you to develop the right things as far as posture, as far as shoulder engagement, how to engage your shoulder blades, how your body moves. It's going to give you better body control and acknowledgement of that. If you're more intermediate and advanced, it's going to help you get over some humps with some other movements that you might be struggling with, okay? Or it might be showing you some hidden things that you might be struggling with that you didn't know you were. So that's all I got for you guys today, all about the suspension systems for use in the suspension row, more specifically, and how that can help you in your system. If you're a beginner, I really do hope this helps you out. That's all I got for you. This has been John Chacon with Austin Performance Fitness and another segment of The Coach's Corner. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Stronger every day. Peace.